All right. Okay. Please hold your comments until the select board chairman opens the agenda items for public comment. When addressing the board, state your full name, both in person and on Zoom. It is suggested that you enter your full name as your ID on Zoom. I will entertain a motion to accept the minutes of November 2023.
Second, I get, if I was here, was there when I wasn't here? Okay,
I wasn't.
second, then.
Okay. Rick, do you want to talk about those? Or?
Yes, I have an item I'd like to at least clarify under number 7, new business B. Regarding the creation of the foreman position within the Public Works Department, the minutes reflect that Director Hinkle reported the hiring process will begin with an internal job posting followed by a public search. We then clarified in that discussion that it is not a new position that is being created. It is being created internally. And that there's no additional funding being created for another line within town government. And it's just not reflected here. The way it's written is somewhat confusing and would indicate, and I don't think this is Heidi's fault at all. It's just a matter of the manner in which the discussion took place. The way it reads, 2 years down the road, somebody may read this and suggest that we had created a line. Because if no one internally accepts a promotion to the foreman position.
Right.
Then you go outside and hire somebody outside. That would mean you'd have to eliminate one of the currently existing employees. So to clarify this record, I would just like it to state that we are not creating a new position. We are elevating an existing position.
And you probably want to take out that line that says followed by a public search.
Right. That would be up to him if he chooses to do that.
Well, I think if we're in that position that we don't have a qualified, or we don't have some qualified candidate that accepts, well, I'll have to come back.
Yeah, you may want to come back and
We wouldn't go to.
discuss that. Good point. And I so move.
I would second that. I thought about that after you left too, after the.
Okay, all in favor? Good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rick.
And one abstention because I wasn't at the meeting.
Appointments, recognitions, and resignations. Consider appointment of David Kearns as chief of police.
Move appointment with enthusiasm.
Second.
All in favor?
Thank you very much.
No backs now.
Item B, no, really, congratulations. Yes, awesome. Item B, consider appointment of Katrina Carter to the Comprehensive Planning Committee.
Move appointment.
Second.
All in favor?
Thank you. Thank you.
Appointment of Select Board liaison to the Comprehensive Planning Committee.
I think at one point I
You said you
said I would be happy to be on that committee as
That's
the liaison.
Is that right now then? At
Sure.
one point.
Yes, I would be happy to take that on.
I move appointment of Wendy Littlefield as the liaison for this board to the Comprehensive Plan Committee.
Second.
Good, all in favor?
Thank you. Thank you, Wendy.
All right, consent agenda, memorandum from Public Works Director Brian Henkel regarding the Mount Desert Island High School wastewater disposal system upgrades. And B, Hancock County Commissioners meeting minutes from November 7th, 2023.
Move acceptance of the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Anybody want to talk about the
Wastewater.
wastewater?
Yeah, I would like
Yeah, but thought I should bring it to your attention since I just asked to come. We were talking about feasibility of it. There's been a little bit of conversation. This is some first one meeting
Mhm.
where the high school had asked me to come out. And I brought Ed Monty, the wastewater superintendent, and Bill Olber from Olber Associates, and Bill Roll on one other person from his staff. And Haley Ward has been working for the high school and has been looking at basically 3 alternatives. One is to rehabilitate the existing system. which is permitted for a couple more years. And they can put a licensed operator on site and they can continue to operate that system, but it would require a rehabilitation. I think that was $250,000 option. Then there's a more expensive option, which would be to switch to an underground septic system. You'd use the same tanks and then put in a below ground disposal system, which was more expensive. But the option they seem to be favoring right now is the possibility of putting in a force main from the high school that would go to the Sonesville treatment plant. The location where that would connect would be the gravity sewer line that's near Babson Creek, just on the other side of the community school is where that starts. And then there's a pump station at Babson Creek that pumps to the library pump station in front of the Sonesville Library, and then that pumps down to one more pump station. So we have 3 pump stations in a row. They would need their own, and they just wanted to know, could our system do it? And the bottom line is, as far as capacity goes, it's within the capacity very easily.
Mhm.
So the plant is rated at 80, and right now it's taking in about 30 on an average, but you don't want to use all 80 on your average. You need to have some room for peaking, right? So you really only want to go to around 50% thereabouts. And so there's room for the amount they would be generating at the high school. In addition to that, the timing of the high school is sort of interesting because it doesn't coincide with the timing of other flows. So people get up, start their day, that's when the flows increase. By the time the high school gets people in it, it's 9 o'clock and everybody's gone to work or gone to school. So that's when the high school flows would start. And so the timing of it is actually pretty good. And then the high school would scale down at about the time that people are coming home. So it really wouldn't add exactly the same way as if you added that number of people in residences.
Mhm.
So it wouldn't change our peaking that significantly. It would also be a force main, so it would be, be new. It wouldn't have the INI that you might have in a typical system. So the timing is good. Then it also shuts off in the summer because the high school is not being utilized as much, has limited use. That's when summer residents are back in town and our uses go up. It actually would help the plant operations in some respects because it would give greater continuity of flow. When you have very, very low flows in the dead of winter, it is sometimes a little problematic operating that plant. There's sort of 2 ways they could direct it to us. They could continue to use the settling tanks that they have and pump off just kind of decant the top, just basically water, gray water. That would be easier treatment. It would be a little less volume. It could be pumped at a slower rate if they pump, but then they would have to pump from their tanks and empty them every year or whatever frequency that they need to. Or they could pump the entirety of the effluent. That would have to have a higher flow rate, which is a little more problematic because we have additional pump stations in line. But I think with the tanks that they have and timing of pump rates or timing of pumps and the rates of flow, we could accommodate it. But that's one question that's outstanding still. We need a little more details on how they wanted to do it. But overall it is, the type of effluent would be different depending on whether or not they pump the solids or not. But I think there's nothing outside of the normal that we would see in the wastewater treatment plant. It's not going to be too dramatically different. They do have relatively high PFAS levels. Sonesville plant is at about 20 parts per trillion as its baseline. We did a study relatively recently. They're more in the 60 to 80 range, but they're also working on trying to determine where they're contributing PFAS because the water that comes in goes through a filtration system and they get down to non-detect. And so there's operations of the way the high school is run, whether that's waxes on the floor, particular cleaning products, toilet paper, things that add PFAS. And so if they can get a handle on that, hopefully they can bring it into line with what the baseline numbers are. There's lots of questions about ownership and operation, whether it can be in the DOT right of way and where they're going to get the money from. So it's very early, but I did want to at least let you know that there's been some conversation and give you an opportunity to ask questions if you wanted to.
I was thinking that Sonesville is the part of town that's experiencing the most growth in terms of new homes and more people, year-round people, many of them. So I'm sure you're taking that into consideration in terms of capacity.
Yeah, and I would think that the number of homes and the growth that would be happening there, we could continue to look at it and just be
Mhm.
mindful of that. But again, because of the timing of when the high school
Mhm.
flows turn on and turn off, and the fact that you would have to kind of set that timing to not overwhelm whatever pump stations you have. Like, I think there's a lot of flexibility with it,
Mhm.
and that it wouldn't be as impactful on capacity as just the raw numbers
Mhm.
show.
Mm,
But we can work some magic, I think,
Yeah.
how the flows come in, and I think there's still capacity for some of them.
But you said very early in the conversation, meaning how long are they gonna operate, how they are, and trying to figure out what to do next? Cause I mean, I have, I have a lot of, I need to learn a lot more. I have concerns about the whole arrangement with all the things going on with schools and everything else.
Yeah, I don't know if they have a time frame in mind, but they do have permitted operational system running, and they have 2 years on that permit.
Okay.
My understanding. And so there's not, and they don't have funding mechanisms. So they're gonna figure that part of it out.
Right,
And then, so I don't think this is moving quick.
okay.
There's time for other things to sort of move out
Mhm.
as well.
So presumably this would go along with the bridge. Right? And so you're gonna communicate with the folks doing that engineering that there may be.
It shouldn't go through that same bridge because the gravity system starts just a little upstream of there, just past the community school, to the east of the community school is where that gravity system starts. So it would actually enter the gravity system there and then
Oh,
flow through gravity
Mhm.
under the bridge to that next pump station.
well, that's what I mean. The
would go
pipe-
through it,
the
yes.
pipe goes over the bridge, right?
Yeah,
Are there any special engineering considerations about having that happen that they might need to be aware of?
So Bill Olvers, who's doing that work for us as well, and that, he would take anything there into consideration, but since that's just the gravity line that's existing, it would just be a matter of if it needed to be sized differently. But he would be aware of that, but I don't think it needs to be. I think the sizing of that line is all right, because the force main won't go through the bridge. It'll stop short of that.
Okay,
Never a dull moment.
and
All right. Thank you, Brian.
So do we have to approve the consent that,
it was
If you
moved and
anything-
seconded
I
already.
don't think did we vote?
No, all in favor? Select board reports.
I have one. And it was a request from the Somersville Village Improvement Society, and this would be mostly directed to you, Brian. They were inquiring, given the number of recent deaths in the Washington DC area with Rosalind Carter and Henry Kissinger and Sandra Day O'Connor, their need to lower a flag to half mast at that new flag on the corner of 102 and 198, that grassed area. During the winter, they have no idea how many more people are going to pass away. But they have a very difficult time getting to that flagpole in the wintertime because the snowbanks it's a good place to push the snow up. And if the sidewalk plow could make some kind of an inroad into that little area to be able to staff a flag at half mast, if you would, they would be greatly appreciated by the Village Improvement Society to save them a little bit of effort.
Okay. I will do that.
Thank you.
And I just have a follow-up on one we had a few months ago. Have we done much with the lighting out in the parking lot? Still seems really dark out there.
I haven't done anything with the lighting because we have a project going to rehabilitate that entirety of those, and that incorporates the lighting. So that warrant article that was passed at the last town meeting, that authorized us to rehab those two parking lots, as well as the one in Seal Harbor. it includes the lighting, so that I was anticipating doing that all together, so it'll be a little while before we.
I wonder, just because it's slippery and people are coming in here and people are getting older and having knee surgery, and is there anything like temporarily we could throw up out there just to, especially this time of year, just to get that parking lot a little safer? I just worry about myself.
You can do that. Wow, you're allowed
That's
to
a
do
place
that.
to start.
We need you too.
Yeah. I do have to, I have something to say. Mike, I just want to congratulate you on a wonderful job. This is a fabulous new facility.
New station, thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah, thank you. Well, I hope it'll meet our immediate needs and hope it meets the future needs of the town
Mhm.
for years. So, but, no, we're pleased. We're not quite there yet, as you see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
The open house was really nice, though. I thought it was a great
Wonderful event.
Yep.
Yeah, it really.
way to
was.
connect it and have kids welcome, and yeah, I
We're
Thank you.
pleased with the turnout.
Guys.
Really, we did.
did a great job.
have Rob,
The high point was, I guess it was Robbie sliding down the
Yeah.
pole. That was pretty great.
You did that all night.
how are his knees?
Yeah.
Okay,
Well, my granddaughter's high point was sitting in the fire truck with the lights on, so.
okay, any other reports? Unfinished business, none. New business, request authorization from the town manager to sign the updated police sharing agreement.
Move authorization.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Item B, request authorization to take the replacement of Northeast Harbor mooring floats, top and bottom chains and mooring staple by Alpha Barge Service for $7,988. The Northeast Harbor Mooring and Float CIP 6410100-24681 has a balance of $368,742.79.
Move authorization.
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Review and approve the acceptance of Patterson Hill Way as a public road in the town of Mount Desert as approved by the voters at the 2023 annual town meeting and in accordance with the public road acceptance ordinance.
Move approval.
Second.
All in favor? Great. Consideration of accepting an unconditional gift in the form of an anonymous donation to the Mount Desert Fire Department in honor of Steve Montman in the amount of $1,000. Said donation will be placed in the account 4040300-24470 Fire Equipment Engine Reserve Fund.
Move acceptance.
Second.
All in favor? Item E, consideration of waiving the rental fee for use of the Seal Harbor Fire Station community room by the Hancock County District of American Legion Posts on the date of December 12th, 2023.
Move approval.
Second.
All in favor?
Thank you.
And item F, consideration of approving the revised agreement with Hedifine Engineering and Designing for construction administration services on the Northeast Harbor Fire Station project, and if approved, authorizing the fire chief to sign and execute said agreement.
Move approval and authorization.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Thank you.
Any other business since we last had selectmen's reports? Nothing. Okay. All right, treasurer's warrants. Approval and signature town invoice AC 2435 in the amount of $1,051,669.02.
Move approval and signature.
Second.
All in favor? Approval and signature, state fees and payroll benefits, AP 2433, AP 2434, and PR 2413 in the amount of $260,261.29.
Move approval.
Second.
All in favor?
One abstention.
Acknowledgement, schools payroll, PR 11 in the amount of $189,490.83.
Move acknowledgement.
Second.
All in favor? Great. Motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Yeah.